A common pest in our area is also one of the most destructive pests we deal with, and that's bagworms. Bagworms can occur on both leafy plants as well as evergreens, although they tend to be more common on your evergreens. You see them on arborvitae, juniper, they can be on pine, they can be on spruce, and they are super destructive on the plants from their feeding damage that occurs year to year. We're going to talk about ways to eliminate the populations, to control the insect, to keep your plants healthy. So between Japanese beetles and bagworms, bagworms are far more destructive, and their destruction, although it occurs every year just like Japanese beetles, grows each year as well. Japanese beetles are a very short-term insect, and on deciduous material, the adults feeding on the foliage rarely, if ever, kill the plant. Even if a plant is completely skeletonized by Japanese beetles and all the leaves are eaten off, the plant has the ability to regenerate new leaves that year. It is a bit of a hit on its energy and its resources in re-leafing, but the plant can and will do that. With bagworms, you get significant damage that is going to occur more next year than even this year. This kind of damage here. And you can see the bagworms on there. And you can see that it has actually killed some of the stems. Some have recovered and created new growth. And even this guy back here is starting to throw some new growth. So in many cases, an evergreen like an arborvitae or a juniper, particularly once the insect is under control, can recover from the damage. There may be some material that does need to be cut out, but it has the ability to grow past the damage, again, once the insect is completely under control. So this is a fairly mature bagworm that is still active. We can take him off the stem right here, and we can actually get him to force out of his bag where he's protected. So once you get to this stage, you're not killing the bug. They've sealed the bag up here, and see, you can't get them to push out. So they're done feeding at that point, but they're also impervious to insecticide at that point because they're protected by the bag. Really, really, really important time to control bagworms is early in their life cycle. When they are small, you have heavy populations, they feed heavily, you get significant damage quickly, and a lot of times, again, you're not seeing the problem until you see the bigger bags later in the season when the damage has been done. Control is best done right after they emerge in the spring, and they generally, in our climate here, emerge around Memorial Day. So super important to be thinking about it end of May, definitely through June and even through July. That is all part of their feeding time frame. And then at the beginning of August is when they will a lot of times close the bag and go to pupal stage. And then the old grubs, basically, the bagworms themselves, are no longer feeding. They are, in effect, going to die, but the females, after mating, will then lay their eggs before they die, leaving next year's brood. If practical, a great way to help your cause as far as controlling the bagworms is to physically pick the bags off the plants. I would highly recommend having either a container that you can seal quickly or have a bucket of soapy water, because if you are picking off bagworms that are young and still active in an open bag and you just throw them into a bucket, you will literally see these guys crawl up and out of the bucket to try to escape. Once the bag is sealed, of course, they will not emerge, but have something there that you can completely seal up so that they don't get out of your bucket or your bag and end up back on your plants. It's a little easier to spot them on deciduous material because deciduous material, again, is made from the plant they're feeding on, but it will also tend to turn brown relatively quick. So like this guy here, he's gone already or was from last year. So to control the bagworm population, spraying is essential. There are several different products that will all work very well against bagworms. One of the most commonly used in general purpose chemicals is Triazicide, as well as 8. Those are great chemicals for bagworms as well as many different insects on many different plants. Very useful throughout the landscape. Also, the BioAdvanced 3-in-1 I really like to use that on spruce in particular because not only will it control the bagworms, but also would control spider mites if they happen to be present as well. So all three of these are really good controls for bagworms. Again, spraying early and following the label directions on application timing. Generally, these guys are going to be 7 to 14 days apart. So you start your sprayings right after Memorial Day, first part of June there. You're going to be spraying through June and into July. It is very important because some of these applications will be done on hot days to make sure you are doing your spraying early in the morning when the temperatures are cool. You don't want to risk burning the plant with the chemical. Also, that is when there is the lowest pollinator activity, so much less problems with potentially harming pollinators during the spraying. If you want to go to the organic aspect of it, there are 2 organic controls that will work well on bagworms. The first one is Captain Jack's dead bug Brew. It is spinosad. It is very effective against larvae. And also BT, or Bacillus thuringiensis, is another very good larvicide. The Captain Jack's will control some other insects as well. BT is specifically for mostly caterpillars. Because again, a bagworm is just a caterpillar. So although bagworms are very destructive insects and seem like they're going to be hard to control, there are measures that you can take to bring their populations down and eradicate them and save your plants. If you have questions or concerns regarding bagworms, please feel free to bring samples and/or pictures in to any of our 3 locations for someone to assist you.